Hi, Brian. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. This is the H, an honest conversation about health, hemp, and happiness. I am just getting started with our show. Joe's jumping in the background. Take your time, buddy. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready. And I have already been able to speak with our guest today, Miss Fatima Oliver. I was stalking her in the background and looking at all of her social media. Yeah, I'm bringing you on while you dance. Guys, this is going to be a good show. Tune in, have fun, tell your friends, hit the like button, hit the share button. Do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube network. Joe, how are you doing, my friend? You know what? I'm just going to skip a step and I'm going to read a part of her bio. So we have Miss Fatima Oliver coming on. She's through self-discovery and acceptance by challenging insecurity, anxiety, and depression from childhood trauma, heartbreak, and physical abuse. She truly believes that there is a significant power in the sharing of our testimonies in the day and age of tangibility and honesty is what most people are yearning for. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know this woman writes like she talks. She is amazing. I have like 3 more paragraphs I could read, but I'm actually want to bring her in because she's just going to bring a smile to all of our faces. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Fatima Oliver.
Hi.
How are you doing?
You know what? It's been a day. I do, the kids are at home. I have my 3 boys at home. I have a 14-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 7-year-old that's at home. I'm trying to teach these kids and continue. And these last week to like really be in an orange jumpsuit. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm doing some character witnesses.
You got to be cautious about these things because now you're recording this.
I know. I didn't choke them. I mean, I didn't do it. It stayed in
the head. Anything happens, it is not Fatima's fault anymore, right, guys?
Right. It was not my fault. It was it was like the heat of the moment. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good. I'm so grateful to be here with you guys. So yeah, let's dive in.
All right. So you are an author. The book you wrote is called The Prescription is in the Dirt. So, all right. You're going to get the generic questions at first, and then we're going to dive in. I've already been picking on her, Joe. I've learned a lot about Fatima in 5 minutes. So the power is in the dirt. Does that mean I should take dirt and put it in my niece's food from now on?
Ooh. No, your food. Just your food.
That's fine.
Ooh, well, if it's coffee, if it has espresso in it, absolutely do it.
I love it.
But no, we're going to pull it back a little bit. So actually, the prescription is in the dirt. What that means is all the things that we're going to dive into, all the taboo things, all the things that you talked about in my bio that I personally had to walk through to really figure out after 44 years who I really was. And so it's kind of like I was a chameleon most of my life, just being whoever somebody wanted me to be or needed me to be, but I never really figured out who I was. And I've had a lot of sadness in my life, like most people, but the prescription is in the dirt. The dirt are those taboo things, the things that we're kind of ashamed to talk about. The abuse, the physical abuse, the sexual abuse, the spouse that dragged me across the carpet with my good weave. Okay. I'm just saying, I'm telling the truth. So it's just, I'm talking about me. I'm not, this is my story. So I can make fun of it. It's mine. Okay. But all those things, that we've dealt with, my father, who for the most part, he didn't mean to, but he abandoned me, because he had his own issues and just all those things. As far as relationships, we all play a part in our lives, where it's a sibling, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a child, a mother or father, and just the relationship dynamics and the toxic things that can be a part of those dynamics. That's what the dirt is. And what I learned is if you do not deal with that dirt, then just like the dirt that covers a casket, you can be dead on the inside and you can walk around functioning as best you know how, but having disconnected relationships and emotionally disconnected and all the drama that comes with that. But on the other side, if you get the courage to face that dirt, to look at it straight on and peel back the layers and say, why do I do this? What is this about? And really dive deep into it, then to me, something beautiful can come out of it, like dirt nurtures like soil, right? A lot of growth and plants can come from that. And that's what I learned on this tough road to what I view as a recovery. And actually it was primarily from codependence, anxiety, depression, and unforgiveness. So there was a lot there that I needed to unpack, but I'm on the other side of it and I'm grateful.
You are so open, so raw. I love it. And I mean this as a compliment, because there's a lot of people who they will be guarded at first, and you're like, no, I'm going to be open, and you're like, this is what we need to work on, because good soil is what we're supposed to be planting. I love that. What you didn't know is I ordered your book on Amazon right before you came on, so I will be actually reading it. And then now when I'm stalking you on Facebook, it's just to answer questions about the book that I might have. So
Absolutely. Please stop. I think, okay, sorry, but look, Joe, I see your tag, your tag on your name. So
Yep,
clearly we raw here, okay?
that's right.
I'm just gonna say, I think everybody needs a little stalker in their life. Not too much. You gotta have it. It's gotta be a
Moderation.
balance.
Moderate
Not
stalker.
a stalker, a moderate stalker. So stalk me, please.
Deal. Well, I will let you guys know. Her middle initial is C, but will not tell me what it means. But I do know she is 44 years old now, and
I'm
she does
actually
not.
46.
Girl,
46.
you deserve like an applause. You look great, and
Thank you.
she's like 46. Damn.
Yeah.
So I love like how you put this. I'm gonna switch it back again. We're gonna go back from me being a big goofball.
Yeah.
Deal with the dirt. I think that's a great way of saying it. Like, because when you think of who people are, what they're doing, and stuff like that, they don't realize they're just moving their own dirt around. How does a person know when they're actually planting seeds in a soil compared to rocky foundation? How would you define that for us?
Very good. So I think number one, we all know people that under our breath we say they are a hot mess. And there are reasons why we say they are a hot mess, right? There are some people who, no matter how much you give them a way to solve something, they find a reason why it won't work. There are people who are constantly complainers, self-sabotagers. They're sabotaging their own success because they either won't try or they have that victim mentality that it'll never work from the beginning, right? They just never pursue. There are people who are very angry. And when you go to the restaurant or to the poor McDonald's people or to the poor fast food people, they didn't get their fries and the folks are throwing stuff and tripping out. Clearly they have a problem. Okay. So these are things that people don't just naturally act that way, right? Now there are people who have learned this behavior and they operate in that behavior, but truly rational, pretty balanced people, they don't operate in that way. And so when you see somebody that is operating from a place of frustration, always they can pop off at any minute. They're just angry people in the morning. They're angry in the morning. I mean, give me a break, right? And so it's these type of people, or just folks that seem like they.
In the morning?
I'm like,
I
wait,
say you can see the
that's
seem
me.
like
That's
they have
me.
a. I mean, if you're mad in the morning, I'm just saying, Cat Williams said it good. How you gangbanging at breakfast? Like something is wrong.
I love Cat Williams.
I'm just saying. I'm just gonna leave that there for you, Joe.
No,
But,
I just don't like mornings. I'm not angry in the morning.
and that's different, right? But these people, they really do, they're just angry. And you know that there's something deeper there, but they won't connect with you to share. And also people that I was saying that have sadness behind their eyes. It's like you see them and they're pleasant people and try to be kind, but you can see that there is something that saddens them. They just carry it like a backpack. So to me, these are people that have allowed the dirt to suffocate them, that have decided to live and not live. I'm sorry, that's the wrong word. They have chosen to survive in the midst of this dirt. And every day they get up and they go to sleep and they function with their kids and their families and relationships, and they wonder why dating isn't working out for them. All these things that they're questioning in their life. But it really has to do with they just haven't gotten in touch with what's really going on. I say soul deep. I call it soul healing, because you got to go past the
Oh,
mental, and the mental has a lot to do with what your feelings are, how your body is acting. Are you healthy? Your body, it exemplifies that stress. What is happening internally all throughout body, soul, spirit, mind, all of it is what helps you to deal with that soul stuff. But I also think on the other side, the people that are saying, you know what, I know I'm a mess. Okay, I know I'm a mess. I know that I've noticed that my friends are becoming more distant. Um, and I don't know what I've done necessarily, but I feel like when I come into the room, everybody gets silent. Um, People who are at a place where they realize that they're becoming disconnected from other people, they're isolating themselves. They don't understand why their life is kind of turned upside down, and they're really ready to face that. It takes a lot of courage to be able to look at your life head on and say, I make myself sick. And I've
mm-hmm.
been there where it's like, you know how you talk about something so much where you like, I don't even want to talk about it no more. I'm making myself sick, right? But
Yes.
when you're in that space, I think, but you're saying, okay, I'm ready to do the work. Okay, I'm ready to look at myself. I'm ready to look in the mirror. I'm ready to see what's really going on. Those are the people that are beginning to see that dirt can be turned into soil. And there are
Mm.
steps, and it takes a lot of courage, because who likes to be honest really with themselves? It takes courage. And I would say beyond that, themselves, sometimes you have to be honest with those people who are around you, who may have enabled you or who may have manipulated you. You have to be honest there too. So it's tough work, but it's definitely doable. And so hopefully that gave you a good insight on what I view as people who are just surviving in the dirt, and people who are saying, you know what, I'm no better than the person that's surviving in the dirt. But the difference between us is I'm ready to do the work. I'm ready to do whatever I have to do to not necessarily figure out life, but figure me out, because life is forever a mystery.
Yep. So Joe, if you have a question, you're gonna have to jump in because her and I.
It's not so much a question. I can tell that Fatima has really healed by her perspective, like through her things, just and because you said she's so raw. Well, what I learned from a lot of people that have been through some really like worse stuff than me, and just like everybody's been through, like the team said, bad stuff, and there are people that have had a worse hand dealt to them that have really, and it's not a measuring contest. They have been through worse,
Right.
and the people that are very open with that, you can tell have already healed because
Mhm.
they're able to be open. And just from the analogy, I love the whole dirt analogy. I think it's very creative, extremely creative from a poetry aspect to a writing aspect. I love it. It's really relatable, I think, to all of us because we all die one day. And I could just tell you healed, like you came very far. And I think it's
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
I love your energy because, like Joe said, like it's, and I mean that's me being me, like the complimentary guy. But like
Yeah,
before,
I'm taking it in. I'm taking it in.
moderate stalking, Brandon.
More.
Moderate.
it's moderate stalking. Well, she's
Moderate
admitted she already loves me. I mean, we
Point
have
on
the
the
pillow
delete
behind.
Yeah.
So if you know you're a mess, all right, like me, I suffer from bipolar 2 disorder. I have depression, anxiety, but the truth
Yep.
is, those are things that I can tell myself every day, or I can wake up and get the fuck out and go do something.
Right.
And that's what it's had to come to for me. And this last year, a lot of people are thrown into a new mess that for someone who's been through it for 15 years and learning it, it's one of these things where how do you know when you're in a mess or not? Because a lot of people don't know they might be in a mess right now.
Yeah. Well, number one, I would say, I probably shouldn't say that.
Do it. Just do it.
Yeah,
But
go
I was
ahead.
like, when you were talking, I was like, well, shoot, I'm there too. I would tell him, get on the boat.
Oh, I feel
But no, but no. But reality is, and you're absolutely right. There are people who are in a funk and they just can't seem to get out of it. And for me, my entire life, I have felt that funk my entire life. When I was 2 years old, I had an accident that had me burned on 25% of my body. And so primarily my legs, my legs and my feet. My feet are completely disfigured, and then I have the spots on my legs. And so that was at 2. That happened to me at 2 years old when I was just learning how to eat, walk, and talk. And I don't remember. That's funny how your brain works. I don't remember those events, but just because of the honestly the consistency in the story from my family is why I know what happened to me. And so I had to learn how to eat, walk, and talk all over again at 2 years old. So from 2, and then at 11 years old, there was sexual abuse, and then just the verbal and emotional abuse that wasn't, I know with everything in me that it wasn't intentional, but it was from a frustrating parent who was parenting as a single parent with no type of assistance and help from the fathers. And so that undercurrent of frustration is what raised me. So my entire life, I dealt with how you see on, and you could probably understand, Brandon, where you see the commercials and when they're trying to explain depression and they show the person underneath the rain, but everybody else
Yep.
is sunny, but for you it's raining. That's been my entire life. And at the time, I didn't even know what was wrong with me. I had no
Mm-hmm.
idea what was wrong with me. I just thought every once in a while I would say, I feel like something's wrong with me. Why am I not happy? Like I have happy moments, but why am I sad all the time? And but
Mm-hmm.
then when I would state that ever so often, there would be people that say, girl, ain't nothing wrong with you. You just need to toughen up. Or you wear your feelings on your sleeve, which I hate that. You wear your feelings on your sleeve. You're too sensitive. So I had all these things that were being told to me. And so I said, well, I guess there's nothing wrong with me. And it literally took me until I was in my mid 30s when I had a moment where, and it wasn't the first time, it was just the time where I was exhausted and didn't know what else to do. But I was
Mm-hmm.
considering running my vehicle through an intersection full of speed. And I had children already, and I had a fiance. And so, but I just was ready to end the pain. And so I'm saying that to say there are plenty of people who have walked this walk without even recognizing that they're in it. And so
Mm-hmm.
I would say, think about what I just stated, or probably what Brandon has stated prior podcasts, as far as what that feeling is. And if you are feeling this immense sadness that you just cannot shake, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's past that 2 week period of a funk that you're in. It just hangs on to you like a backpack, or it hangs on to you like an X. Now you know that you can reference that, okay? It hangs on to you like an X, okay? It won't let you go. If you're feeling like that, truly, I would encourage you to do what I had to get the courage to do. And in case you're not seeing this and you're going to listen to this and you have, okay, I shouldn't say that, but shoot, I'm going to say it because I'm
Say it.
talking for my people. I sound like what I am. I'm black. Okay. And
Wait, you're black?
I'm black.
Oh shit! I had no idea.
What? So I'm saying that to say my people normally, historically, do not lean into assistance for mental health. Okay, and now it's becoming more popular in my culture, which is awesome. We're seeing a lot of breakthroughs, but 10, 15 years ago, that was not the case. And so I had to get up the courage and go to the doctor and admit that I needed help. And that was so tough, but I had to make a decision that I wanted to be here for my children. So I would
Mm-hmm.
say those people that are feeling like they are in a space where they can't seem to get it together, and depression it comes in different forms. I feel like I lived on simmer also. I was always agitated. I was
Mm-hmm.
definitely agitated all the time. I lived like, if you think about a stove on simmer, so depending on what you said to me, I could go into extreme sadness or I can go into extreme anger. It just depended on what the situation was. And so if you're feeling that discontent within your spirit, then I would really encourage you to get up some courage and just go and talk to your doctor so that they can at
Mm-hmm.
least assist you in that way. And then from there, if you need therapy, talk therapy, then you can do that. And that's also what I wound up doing. But I didn't go into talk therapy until about 2 years ago, honestly. So I had been on medicine for over 10 years before it clicked in my head that I needed to do more than just medicate what was going on to me, that I had to look at the reason why I am the way I am. And that's really when the tough work began.
So I think that's a phenomenal way of saying that, because going into the conversation of therapy, even, I agree with you, and I'm going to flip it a little bit, because you're saying how you're Black, and the African American culture, you don't go to therapy. It's looked almost down upon.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I have friends who are Black, and I just naturally say African American, and even just saying Black, I stop myself. So they're African American, and my friends that are that close to me say, "Why do you go to therapy?" And when I talk to them about it, the males in particular are like, "No, no, 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 that's not what you do."
Yeah.
I think it's funny though, because we don't realize how much culture actually plays into it and where people fall into these things.
Yeah.
Going and taking that time to actually let go of what everybody else is doing, sit down with somebody, and then you're talking and you're letting go, and their job is to hear you. And if you don't feel heard, you don't feel respected, or you feel they're just pushing meds, you're allowed to leave. You don't have to stay. Set your boundary on what you want, and find somebody you can talk to that works with you. I actually, one of my favorite things about the past, or about African American culture, is because men didn't want to go to therapy and stuff back in the day. Did you know that's why the barber shops were so popular? It was where they go to talk about things. They learned about testicular cancer together. They learned about like all these crazy things that we today are like, oh, you didn't know about that? They talked to each other about that in these communities, and that's why the barbershop was so essential. It was where men got their mental health, and where they were able to get their the cleanup too, because every guy needs a good cleanup.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I do have a. Sorry, I kind of tirade there, but that's who I do. I love how you put the codependent and you were talking about people could be codependent and walking around buried alive is what I wrote, but I know that's not how you phrased it. People don't even realize, like, you could be walking around as a zombie right now and not even know it. When you saw the light and you started going, how did you know that it was something different? And you're going to become Fatima Oliver. You're no longer that other person that like lives in the pain. How did you break through that?
Well, one thing I want to say is people know. They know, they just don't want to deal with it. We know ourselves. We know if we are discontent. We know if we feel that our life is missing something. But what we tend to do is work it away, or we busy it away. And I really got to a place where I was in a space where it was unbusy. And it wasn't the COVID time, but I relocated to a new state, and it was quiet. I didn't have my busy routine. I didn't have my girlfriends that I gotten used to. I didn't have my tribe. I didn't have for me, going to church, got my Bible study. I didn't have all these things that was taking up my time. I was starting fresh, and it was so quiet that I was like, then I started to hear all that stuff that had been suppressed. I started hearing the screams for me to pay attention to my soul. So I think it really takes us wanting to. I think when we say we want to change, we must be willing to unbusy ourselves so we can truly hear what needs to be heard within us.
Can you elaborate on busy? And I mean that as in, like,
so kids, putting all our attention into our children, right? Making sure they make it to every event, cooking for the family, coming in from work tired, but you go into the kitchen and cook, and then you just go to sleep and you do it all over again. Going to school, I was in school, I was a full-time, I had a business, I had kids, I had a husband, playing all these different roles, but not stopping to pay attention to me. And so what would happen is I would go into these deep dives, and you probably know what I'm talking about, Brandon, as far as like, to me, I can only think about Alice in Wonderland, and I would go down the hole. And and when I went down the hole, it would happen before I was so busy, I didn't see the hole. I would fall down the hole, and now nobody can hear me, and I'm stuck. And I would I would be active, and then for 2 weeks nobody would hear from me, and everybody would be like, "Where's Fatima?" that's because mentally I'm in the hole and I don't know how to get out of it. And so I would be in that space where I would still get up and do the work, but people would say, "What's wrong with you? You look a little different." And I would say, "I'm just tired." And I would go back and it would take everything in me to get out of bed and do it all over again. But in mentally, I was thinking, I can't do this anymore. I want to die. That's what I was thinking. And then after about 2 weeks, I would pray and pray and pray, and somehow the light would show, and I would figure out, oh, there's the opening to that hole, and I could climb myself back up out. Did I change my habits? Absolutely not. I continued. This continued for over 14 years until when I got on busy, it became scary because I got to a place where I was in the rabbit hole and I was starting again thinking about hurting myself. And I really was starting to not recognize who I was. And I was on a new job and I was crying at the job. And I was like, Lord, I just got this job. They're going to think I'm crazy. And I'm not crazy. But then I was like, but am I crazy? Like, I didn't know. And I really got to a place where I felt that if I went to sleep and woke up, that I wouldn't recognize who I was, almost like schizophrenia. I didn't recognize myself. And it was that fear that made me reach out to my tribe. I call them my tribe because they've been with me through good and bad. I reached out and I was honest about, I feel like I want to end my life. And they are the ones that encouraged me to go to talk therapy. And if I did not have them already on standby, meaning doing life with already, when they told me you need to go talk to somebody, I would have got offended. But because I knew that they had my best interest at heart, I listened to what they had to say and I made the appointment as nervous as I was, as unpopular as it is in my family. I decided to make the appointment and follow through. So that was what kind of got me to the place where I said, I'm tired of being exhausted from my mental traps. I'm tired. It's so exhausting to fight it. And I'm just tired of being exhausted, trying to trying to ignore the screams that are in my head and go on with life like it's normal and be there for everybody else and deflect because I was the great deflector and helping everybody with their problems. Yet inside, I'm dying. I got tired of it. And that really was the mark. I think that was everybody have what is it, rock bottoms? And I just believe that was a rock bottom for me. And so everybody who's listening or who's viewing, they have to determine what their rock bottom is because it will happen. And so either you're going to listen to wisdom, not me like I'm the guru, but I'm just saying I believe like when you learn from other people's experiences, and for me that's wisdom. So either you're going to learn from other people's experiences or you're going to have a rock bottom moment. And the question is, what could that cost you? Or do you be proactive and say, you know what, I'm just going to go and see if I'm okay. I'm just going to do a little mental health check just to make sure that I'm okay.
And I think that that's a great way of saying that because all you're doing is putting a boundary of asking for respect. And that's not something that's hard to do. You're saying, hey, I don't feel right. I need to go take care of me. And I'm using this to go into another part of a question because you phrase that in such a great way that when you're in that dark hole, being able to get out of it is hard, but noticing you're down the hole first. Because you could be like a miner and having a hat on and it's just got the brightest light ever and you don't even realize you're in a hole. I want to come back to this really quick. Stovetop Yum Yum opened up here, and I think this is something that we could talk really quick about. She was molested by 13 by an uncle and was able to say it proves to me that it's okay. I always thought it was my fault, and I think there's a lot of women out there that I'm saying this without experience, so please know I'm not trying to compare or anything, but there's a lot of women out here that have dealt with this and they don't know that I can't explain the pain, but I think that understanding I can't give up in my heart. I know that my passion and love will always help others. And that motivates me to continue. Now, Stovetop, I love how you phrase that. I love the positivity on the turn. Here's the thing. I want you to know that if you think because I saw your comments earlier and they were saying how you're empty. They were saying how you feel like Fatima was explaining in the bad dirt. And then you turned around and she got through it and created soil and planted fields and watching it grow. And you can too, but she had to love herself first.
Yeah.
And
Now-
I say that, go ask anything.
Yeah.
This is your show now.
What I'm Fatima. No, but really, so what was amazing to me is that number one, now we hear it all the time, okay? But I guess because of how I was raised, I disconnected from that piece. It's not like I was going around saying I can't change my life. It wasn't that. It's just I just thought it wasn't relating to me. So I thought I could change my home, I could change my car, I could change my nail color, I could change my hair, but in regard, right? And usually I'm bald. I just want to let you know that. But anyway,
I shaved my head just for you.
yeah, see, and I've shaved it too. I've shaved mine before, Joe. But anyway, I'm helping your viewers. So but what was amazing and the most freeing thing in the world for me, and that's what you see. You see the freedom because I realized that I truly can change my life. And it wasn't like this aha moment first. It wasn't like, oh, I can change my life and then did the steps. No, it was the faith to do the steps. And then on the other end of it, I said, wow, I changed my life. So one of the huge things that it was a struggle that I dealt with was, do I discuss the molestation in my book? And when you read the book, you will understand more detail on why that was such a huge thing. But when I was in the process, it wasn't necessarily when I was writing it, but it was when it was time for it to get edited and published. I really struggled with allowing that to stay in the book. At the same time, I felt like if I don't share the story, then it wouldn't really be telling my true story. So I struggled because I knew that once I spoke on it, that I was gonna lose some people in my life, that I was gonna lose some very close people in my life. And with my therapist, I actually had the discussion and I was bawling and I was just so torn. And she said, Fatima, which one do you want more? Do you want the feeling of your freedom to be able to have your voice and to speak up? Or do you want to be loyal and keep the relationship that you're afraid you're going to lose? And when I thought about that again, that was a soul moment. That wasn't a insecure moment. That wasn't a superficial moment. That was a who will Fatima be? Who am I? And I made that tough decision with eyes open to put it in the book. But one of the things I want to say to your viewer is that it's important I did this thing. And so I took different programs that I've been in. One was Celebrate Recovery. I took those tools from Celebrate Recovery, from my Bible studies that I've been in, from people with wisdom just speaking into my life. And I came up with my own strategy, my own plan as far as healing. And we can talk about that later. But one of the things that was shared was, it's like an inventory. It's like a reassessment. So what I had to do, and it helped me to break free from feeling that it was my fault. I wrote down specifically who hurt me, what was the event that happened with this specific person? How did it make me feel in that moment? Did it make me feel sad? Did it make me feel anger? What did I feel embarrassed? What was it? Then from there, it was, how did it damage you? Did that embarrassment travel throughout my life? And now when I have an opportunity to do XYZ, I pull away because I'm afraid of that embarrassment. So that's damage. Did it damage? How did it damage me? And then the key question, was it your fault? And that was where I had to say, I was 11 years old. What could I have truly done? Not at 40 something, at 11. At 11, what could I have possibly done that could have made this go away? Absolutely nothing. It was not my fault. And that helped break something inside me. And then it was, well, whose fault is it? And I was able to put down who held that blame. And from there, I was able to say, what would I have done differently? If I was that 4-year-old, if I was that 11-year-old, now that I have all this information, what would I have wanted to have happened differently? Is there anything I could have done differently? And then I could talk about that with myself, right? But the point is that after I did that whole process, I was able to make a decision can I have a conversation with this person without it hurting me or them? Or can I write a letter to release that pain from this situation and release the ownership? What do I want to do now? Now that I realize that this was not my fault, what am I going to do with that? Right? Am I
Mm-hmm.
going to walk around bitter about it and now attack everybody whose fault it was? Or am I going to say I choose to release it and try to understand what their life was, those people that were at fault, try to understand where their life condition was at, not saying that they're not to blame, but understanding their life condition and then deciding to release it. And somewhere in there, there is forgiveness. So when I decided to release it, I found kind of an understanding and a level of forgiveness for those people, even though they were out of line. But for me personally, I took it an extra step and I actually had a conversation with one of those people. And in having that conversation, it was not like on the Hallmark, on Hallmark, everything turned out as wonderful, right?
Right.
This was more like Lifetime. And so on Lifetime, where you don't know what's going to happen. So
No. I'm engaged. I know how that goes. Lifetime's on in the background. Hallmark movies for Christmas.
Right? So, but I had that conversation and I was so scared. I felt like I was I was 44 years old, had my own kids, had my own responsibilities. But when I had that conversation, I swear I felt like I was 11 and I was stuttering and I couldn't get the words out, but I stuck with it and I had the conversation. And the conversation did not go like I would have prayed for it to go. And it actually broke a relationship. But you know what? I got out of it. I got out of it strength because for the first time in my life, I stood up for myself and I stood up for the 11-year-old girl that nobody stood up for. And so to that viewer, I stated those specific steps because I would encourage them to consider just walking through those steps and then being able to see it on paper, the reality on paper to say, girl, that wasn't your fault. But then also being able to say, now I'm faced with whose fault it was. What do I do? Do I make a decision to carry it and turn it for bad and basically throw hot fire on it? Or do I say, you know what? I'm going to change my life and I'm not going to allow this to write my story about who I am. I am no longer a victim. Yes, this crap happened to me and it was not right. And they will forever have to wear that to change the story of my life. And I think that's what's critical, changing your story. And in this process, I learned to do just that, to change my story. I control my story now, not somebody else.
I love it. Guys, I want to throw Fatima's website up here. If
I
you
love the
don't,
last part. Chocolate. I love chocolate. I'm the same way, so I love chocolate.
So, guys, Fatima, first off, this is a beautiful website. Podcast highlights. She's done a lot of great things. I Googled her, and you can find a lot on her social media. This was the picture that we decided to go with because I have to be honest, the first time someone saw it, they wrote Beyonce, and I was like, no, I'm not interviewing Beyonce, but I can understand.
Oh, well, that's sweet. I'm older than her, but I'll take it.
That's because she wants to be Fatima. So I get it. So I'm looking around your background, and I love that the word family is right under your book. Is that on purpose?
Family is everything to me. The reason why I wrote the book is to help myself, right? To help myself heal. It definitely was an extension of healing. But beyond that, it was also about what I wanted my legacy to be and what I wanted my children to know about. And so, yes, family, it's sitting there, it fit, and that's why it's sitting right there. But I always have it in my shop because my boys are my everything. And I just want them to know, I want them to have the freedom to share what's truly on their heart. I call it having a safe place to fall. There's a woman named Carolyn Leaf. She actually studies the brain and the mind and how they connect together. And she calls it freaking out in the love zone. Everybody should have a place where they can just be themselves, like raw themselves and not be judged. And parenting is a tricky thing. There's a lot of do as I say, not as I do, right? There's a lot of that, okay? Absolutely. You're not old enough. When you pay your own bills, then you can do it, okay? But then there is a place in parenting where I've learned that you got to talk to the children and you got to help them to understand, and you got to know your individual children. And so I want them to have their voice, the voice that I didn't have. And I don't think that it was intentional. I do not believe that. I believe it was cultural, and
Mm.
that I grew up in a time where my mother grew up in a space where it was about the silent generation. So how she was treated is what she brought down to me is generational. And so for
Mm.
me, I don't want my children to have that generational woe, or I look at it as a generational curse. I refuse to allow my children to have that. And so when I wrote the book, that's also what was a part of it, that I'm healing myself so that my children will be able to be healed. Like now, I'll have a
Mm.
conference call and they're like, I'm having a conference call at work, but they say, "Are you talking to your therapist?" And I'm like, "No, that was a conference call." But the point is that the fact that they can freely say, "Oh, mommy's on the phone with her therapist." Do you understand that dynamic when we just got done talking about that the barbershop was where mental health was for men, and that
Mm-hmm.
my boys who are going to be Black men would not be afraid to go to therapy because they saw their mother having therapy sessions? That is huge. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm trying to cultivate. But in order for me to
Mm.
be able to do that, I had to deal with my dirt.
I love how you're phrasing this. You have to till the dirt. You have to nurture it. Oh, Fatima, you are having the audience is loving you as well. They've made some great comments. How that is why you haven't seen Kelly Rowland and Michelle Williams back with Beyonce, because they're hanging out with Fatima now.
You did the thing.
Yep, I did the snap. And then the other one that I think you really deserve a lot of praise with is Stovetop Yum Yum put how she did talk to her aunt when she was 32 years old, but she's crying for joy that I publicly mentioned that to you all at 53 years old. I held in publicly and I feel free. Thank you, Fatima. So just know everything that we do, guys, like there is like a purpose and a reason. I love that people tuned in for tonight and all this. That we've had such a great energy on this. Fatima, you're one of 5 boys, and you have only boys as kids. I remember. Is that correct?
Yes, God is so funny. He is so funny. Yes. Yes. So I was not a princess in my home when I grew up. I was not a princess. My brothers, they wanted to make me cry. If they can make me cry, they won. So I grew up tough. I had to learn to be tough. And so over the years, I have learned to just smooth out my edges a bit. But I had to be to survive in that home. And now with my boys, trust me, they do not. They don't hold any punches. In my house, it is all for nothing. We would clown you. I told my son the other day when he got a bad grade, I'm like, you didn't get an F, you got an M. What the heck?
An M? What is an M?
Like, we don't even have M's. You created a new grade.
That's oh god.
So you're saying he's
raw.
very innovative.
Yeah, right. We keep it raw here, and so now there is a part of that isn't so great, because sometimes I have to remind them that mommy is a girl. Okay, mommy's a girl. Mommy likes girl things, because we really do. We're rough in this house. You have to be able to take the punches if you're going to be in this space. And I am forever the queen. I don't regret it at all. I actually had a child. My firstborn actually was a girl. And unfortunately, she didn't survive, and that was many moons ago. And so we do have a plaque in our home that goes everywhere we go with her clips of her hair and her fingerprints, which is just wonderful for me. And I'm able to tell my they did have a sister, and so sometimes we'll reminisce and they'll say how old she would have been, and it's just wonderful to be able to include her in some of our conversations. But I say I had my girl, and so God gave me that, can never be taken away. And so now I have my boys, and we just riding deep.
Are your brothers involved in your life, in the boys' lives?
We live.
Oh man, I should have asked that before the show. Sorry.
That is okay. No. I told you I don't run from questions. I try not to run from questions. And we live different lives. We went in different paths, but my brothers do reach out occasionally. There's been one that even came and visited us a couple years ago. It has been a little different since the book, but it's one of those things where I think it's important to realize that healing is tough work and it's dirty work. And you want to heal yourself. Again, I view it as a soul healing project. When you want to dive into that soul healing, not only are you going to be looking at yourself, but you're going to be looking at the habits that you picked up and where did I pick up that habit? And so that can bring some uncomfortable conversations, things that have happened in your life that were horrible, that you had no control over, like the molestation that we were talking about. That opens up a can of worms for other people who may not want to discuss it. And then it can put family members in an awkward position, I would say. And so sometimes there are choices that are made, just like you're making a choice. I made a choice to heal my life. I made a choice to save my life. But that doesn't mean that the other people made that choice. And that's a part of it. And I think it's important to understand that not everybody is on your road. Not everybody is where you are. They want to dive into their own mess. And I think that's to be respected. When somebody isn't in that space, I think it is critical to respect that because we were once there. And so you have to bow out gracefully and continue to work on yourself. And then pray for them that they will get the healing that you've been so blessed to have. And that one day they'll be open to having those difficult conversations. And like I say, sometimes you got to love them from across the street. And so you love them, but you move on, you move on with your life. And so that is some of the dynamics in my family. And it's sad, it is, but when I compare those relationships that we can say lost, when I compare those relationships to the reviews that I've gotten on my book and to the women that have reached out, and men have been able to have some awesome conversations, you too, but I have really been reached out to a lot by men who aren't shying away from these conversations. When I think about all those experiences, being able to increase my platform to be a transformational speaker and now a consultant to what I lost, I swear it just don't add up. And I'm just so grateful for what God is doing in my life beyond, I can't even explain to you. So it's priceless what I got in return for what I lost. So that comes with it.
And I think that needs to be understood for everybody, how that was not easy for you. Like that was something that when you came to that point, you knew, okay, this is for Fatima. This is for making the best of you and for your boys. And I think before the show, you and I's conversation, you said, I don't want them to get my negative generational curses.
Yeah.
And I think that you're doing that. I love the independence, the strength, the comedy that you bring because you're so entertaining. Apparently, Beyonce's crew follows you around now. I didn't know you were that cool, but I love it. I put your book in there on Amazon. I put your website up there. I'm quoting you at the end.
Can I say this one thing? I'm so sorry. Please forgive me.
You're fine.
I really want to say this because I'm so grateful that you see the strength and you see the independence, but I really need for it to be understood that it didn't come first. And sometimes we don't walk through the healing because we want that first. We want the strength to do it. But in actuality, it comes with us actually applying it, right? So we have to have faith that we're going to get the strength as we walk through the steps. But it didn't come. I was scared through every step. Every step I was feeling like, am I going to like myself on the other side of this? Am I going to be as cool? Is my husband going to like me? Am I going to lose friends? Like, I didn't know. I just wanted help. And so as I trusted the process and went to therapy and went to different programs to get some insight on what I needed for my life, and then I started to put them into work, that's when I started to say, oh my God, I can do this, right? So it doesn't, I want people to understand that there are some things you're going to have to do by faith. There are some things that you're just going to have to say, I got to believe that I'm able to do this. And I got to want it. You got to want it more than anything. Even though you're scared, that you would do it scared. And so as you're walking through the process, then you get your strength. When you get on the other side and you say, oh my God, I did that. Oh my God, I had that difficult conversation. No, it didn't go good, but oh my God, I didn't flip out. I didn't turn the table over. I actually walked away and said, God bless you. When you can do that, then you say, wow. And you realize how much you have inside of you, how much strength you have inside of you that you never even knew. And that's where the strength comes from. So I just wanted to make sure that people understood that, you know, it's just like a rich person saying, you too can get out of debt. It's like, shut up. You got all this money. Don't be talking to me.
Amen.
You know the process. What was the process before you got your millions, right?
Right? And like, don't make me watch a 30-minute infomercial to learn about something that I could have found out on YouTube
that
for
you have
10
to pay
seconds.
for it too.
Right?
Right.
That's how they got their millions.
You're right.
Wait, so that's how we do it, Fatima? We're going to put you and Beyonce in a picture together. We could do a face swap thing. No one will know.
Oh my God. I love Beyonce, but I am so no.
So no, I love it. I look forward to your book arriving. It should be here in the next 2 days because it's Amazon. Your link is up there. I have 2 questions, and the first one I'm going to ask very easily, and you have fun with it. And then the second one is the way we end every show. So that way you're prepared. Don't worry, Joe. I got you this week. So, Fatima, when you started out writing your book, what was your biggest challenge and how did you get through that?
The biggest challenge was what people were going to think about my story, because a lot of people didn't know it. My friends, my closest friends didn't know my story. They knew the Fatima that I put out there, but they didn't really know me. And I was scared. I was scared of feeling embarrassed once people started to read it and they were like, oh my God, it was that. But just like I said prior, I knew that with everything in me that it was, number one, I knew that this is what God wanted me to do. And I needed to have the courage to do it. And so sometimes you just got to have faith. And my inner being was telling me this is the right step. I had no idea how to write a book. I just started on a Word document and just kept writing. I had no idea. And so I just knew in my heart with everything in me that this was the right thing to do. And so I just did it. And that's just like when I learned how to swim. I was scared. I didn't, but I told myself, if I'm going to learn how to swim, I got to trust the instructor. So I told myself when I walked in there, no matter what he tells me to do, I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to do it. And so that's the same approach I took with this and other things that I'm scared to do. I said, God told me in my heart that this is what I need to do. I feel it in my heart. And that's why I say that's just my connection with God. I felt it deep inside. I couldn't shake it, that this is what I need to do. And I'm just going to do it. And I will say that my mom raised 5. She raised 3 boys and a girl. My 2 other brothers are on my dad's side. And our mantra in the Smith mantra is, we ain't no punks. So I wasn't punking out.
I love it. We ain't no punks. You could create an army behind you, the Dirt Army, and it'd be like, we ain't no punks. I think you got it. I love it. The audience even says this went really fast. You brought such a great energy, and I love how you even brought it back to the fact that you wouldn't have that without the pain you went through. So thank you for being so raw. Thank you for being so honest and coming on today. My last question is always the same for every guest. And I think you have already answered this without even knowing it. Okay. How do you want to leave your impact on the world? Now, Joe has the same answer every week and refuses to change. So instead of letting him talk this time, I'm going to just do this and just let it scroll across the bottom so it makes it easy. It's be the change you want to see.
Yes. Yeah.
So with me, the way I want to leave my impact on the world today is ending the show. I want you to be able to take this amazing message and be able to share it with others the way we were, because we had an audience that wasn't just interacting, they literally connected with this. That means there's millions of people out there that could use words like Fatima did. Share, like, comment, and I don't want it for like the H's view. It's because she's doing this to help others, just like the H was started to help others. Miss Fatima, can you do me a favor and tell me, how do you want to leave your impact on the world?
I guess for me, I always say I don't want to be on my deathbed feeling like I should have did some things that I didn't have the courage to do. So I think that's the critical piece. But I want people, when they say my name, to be able to say that I was courageous and that I was stubborn in my passions, and that I helped a lot of people to heal because I went first.
I love it. Joe, do you have anything else?
No, like I said, I love the whole analogy of dirt, and I think that Fatima, like she said, she had a lot of men contact her, and I think obviously a lot of what you went through, some of us men cannot relate and can't imagine. We could just be there to help people we love that have been through those. Yeah. But I think there are also so many things that are relatable to men that maybe they're a little shy, but being able to read your book, hear your story, read your blogs, look at you on the podcasts that you've been on, ours and others on your website. There's a lot of relatability on both sides of the coin. And I think it's a wonderful message for everyone involved.
Thank you so much. You're quiet, but you're a cutie, Joe.
Thank you very much. Brandon just talks. I'm the introvert that occasionally, like, I got to write down my thing. Like, he's going to let me talk. He's going to let me talk. And then Brandon brings the energy. But it's a, two bald guys, good combo.
Absolutely. Next time I come on here, I might be bald. You better watch out. I might be. I usually do.
Well, we might have hair. You better watch out.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
We won't. This is all we got.
That's coming.
Brandon, go get the wigs.
I'm like, buddy, I don't have anything.
I didn't say real hair. Just go get the wigs.
Just go get
the good weave.
Absolutely.
No, Halloween stores got overstock. We'll be all right.
Brandon, it was a good week. Brandon, I had just put it in my head. Brandon, that's a whole nother story. We're gonna do that another time. But yes, it was a good weave. It was a fresh weave, and he dragged myself all around that house. I was like, Lord.
Like,
every time I tell that story, I have to say the good weave because it was a good weave.
I have no rebuttal to that. A good weave is a good weave. Guys,
I think that's a great icebreaker, though, into like a very raw, hard story for someone that doesn't know you very well to be able to hear. It really breaks the ice and kind of is like, oh, she's still got this amazing personality. She's making, light of something she's healed from, and it kind of lets them feel more comfortable to be able to hear it too.
Good. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys. I'm so honored to be here. I'm so excited. I was nervous because I didn't know what we would talk about, but I'm so grateful. It was awesome, and I hope that I'm able to join you guys again. Great time.
I love it, and thank you for bringing the energy you did. You're on Facebook?
Yes, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Reddit. I don't do that much on Reddit, but I'm there, and I'm trying to get on Clubhouse. I'm trying. So, yeah.
Do you have an iPhone?
Just,
Do you have
my husband does. We're not discussing that because personally I don't like iPhones, but my husband has one, and he did say he would use his phone. So,
but the thing is, if you can't have Clubhouse and not have an iPhone, it doesn't work on Android.
They're making an app for Android.
Really?
Yes, they are. But my husband said he will let me use his phone. Now, come on. My husband said he will let me use his phone. Now, any woman that heard that already is like, what?
Yep.
He gonna let her touch
I think every guy had heard that too. Is like
what? Yes.
I like, honestly, I love your husband. So next time you come on, I'm gonna have him with you because
then you will never see me because he ain't coming.
Deal. All right, never mind. I just get Fatima. I love it. Guys, this was the H, Fatima. I've already requested you on Facebook as a friend. I tagged you in this post. I look forward to connecting and reading your book. Sarah Jane's in here. She goes, yes, girl. Like, what? And stuff. Sarah's also an author as well, so that's why I want to pull her in really quick. But then, Fatima, you are 100% amazing. You brought such great energy. I'm so excited to read your book. I'm not even going to let Joe get a piece of it. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, fine. And you won't.
Wait, you're signing his copy now?
I can. I can send you guys. We'll talk offline. Send me your information. I'll actually send you an autograph copy. Absolutely.
I'll make you a trade when we get off air that nobody can know about.
Just stay on after the live. We'll be able to talk to you.
Okay.
Guys, this was the H, an honest conversation about health, hemp, and happiness. This was Fatima Oliver with the I'm going to say it wrong. The prescription is in the dirt. I almost said the placebo is in the dirt. And that's why I'm like, no, start over. So thank you guys for joining us. I'm Brandon. This is Fuck Joe over here. And Fatima, thank you again. Have a great one, guys.
Thank you.
Good one, everyone.